respirating surface in the lungs will get reduced, and therefore there will be congestion in breathing process. Okay, so that is the major thing that will happen in emphysema. And in bronchitis, you know, recently we discussed about this bronchitis in diseases part. There in bronchitis, there will be inflammation of bronchioles. Inflammation of bronchioles will be there. Okay, so this is what happens in bronchitis and in your emphysema problem. And another major thing that is occurred because of tobacco smoking is, just now I told you the chemical name of your nicotine, that is N-nitrazodimethylene. Okay, so this N-nitrazodimethylene, it acts as a carcinogen. You know what do you mean by carcinogen? Carcinogens are capable of causing cancer, right? So this N-nitrazodimethylene, it causes lung cancer. When a person is continuously smoking, like he may chance that is chances of getting this lung cancer. About 95% of the lung cancer patient are smokers. You can see 95% of lung cancer patients, the people who are affected by lung cancer, right? In them, 95% of the people are getting lung cancer because of smoking. So they will be mostly smokers. The remaining 5% may be because of different reasons, okay? Because of occupational disorder or anything. But now most of the lung cancer patients will be smokers, and this is one major thing which is caused because of this tobacco intake, that is tobacco smoking. Okay, fine. And one more thing you have to know, that is, out of 10% smoke inhaled, only 1% is finally absorbed, and the addiction therefore takes it will for a longer time. Okay, so if a person is taking out of intaking 10% smoke, okay, if he is intaking 10% smoke, so out of the 10% smoke inhaled, only 1% will be finally absorbed in your body. Okay, only 1% is finally absorbed. So if the person who is smoking, right, immediately he will not get lung cancer. It will take a long period of time for getting affected with lung cancer. So out of 10% smoke inhaled by the person who are smoking, only 1% is going to be finally absorbed in the body. So the addiction will take longer time in this case of cigarette smoking. Okay, that is the point for this thing. And finally, what are the other side effects that will be caused because of smoking or something, right? So the teeth will get stained. The nicotine, right? The nicotine, it will cause a staining. Some dark brown color staining will appear in the teeth. Okay, and also there will be bad breath. Bad breath. Okay, so which will causes discomfort to others. The people who are smoking, right? There will be a bad breath coming out from their mouth, which will be discomfort to the others who are having conversation with the person. Okay, and nicotine, it is a stimulant. Nicotine, actually it acts as a stimulant. You know what is a stimulant? You can say coffee is a stimulant, right? Likewise, nicotine is a stimulant. Stimulant means it will go and activate your central nervous system. Okay, you would have noticed the person who are smoking, if they are tensed or if they want to take a decision, immediately they will smoke. Okay, so actually what happens when smoking, the nicotine which is entering into the body, right, it will act as a stimulant and it will stimulate your CNS. It go and stimulate your CNS. Like so we used to see persons like they will tell, like if they take coffee they will feel brisk. Okay, and similarly they will tell, like if they have a puff of smoke, they will feel brisk, because it is, they are all stimulants which stimulate your central nervous system, and it will makes the conduction of nerve impulses faster. It makes the conduction of nerve impulse faster. Okay, the nerve impulse conduction will be very fast, and it also causes tachycardia. You know what is tachycardia? By the name cardia, you can refer like something, it is related to your heart. If there is increase in the heartbeat rate, then it is called as tachycardia. Okay, increase in heartbeat rate is called as tachycardia. And also finally, this cigarette smoking, it increases the secretion of adrenaline hormone. It increases the secretion of adrenaline. You know about adrenaline, right? It is an emergency hormone. So this emergency hormone and decision making hormone. So when all these are taking place, finally it is going to act as a stimulant and stimulate your central nervous system. And the last one I want to tell you, the anti-tobacco day. The anti-tobacco day. Any idea when is the anti-tobacco day observed? Any idea, students? It is on 31st May. The anti-tobacco day is on 31st May. Okay, that's all about your tobacco addiction part. So now I will show you the first 3 slides again. You just copy this one. So in all these addiction part, you have to know what is the chemical toxic substance that is present in them, whether it is a stimulant or it is a narcotic, then what are the disorders that will be caused because of that particular addiction. These are the points you have to note down in all the 3 different types of addiction. Now I will show you the first slide. Okay, so the one who first started tobacco smoking in America. So tobacco can be either smoked in the form of cigarette, bidi, surutta, like that, or it can be taken by chewing process. Okay, simply they will put the tobacco in their mouth and they will chew it continuously, and after one period they will just spit it off. Okay, and nicotine is the major one that is causing addiction in tobacco. So the smoke, while the tobacco smoking is done, the smoke of that consists of mainly nicotine, which is called as N-nitrosodimethylen. Other than that, carbon monoxide will be present, and some polycyclic hydrocarbons like tar will also be present. And the major disorders that are caused by tobacco smoking are emphysema and bronchitis. And emphysema is the respiratory disorder commonly called as smoker's disease, and the respiratory surface in the lungs is reduced due to the degeneration of separating wall of alveoli. And in bronchitis, what happened? There will be inflammation in the bronchioles. Okay. Yeah, yes. See, actually, when the person who is smoking is not only affected. Okay. See, when when a person is smoking cigarette, finally they will release smoke from their mouth, right? That smoke, when it is inhaled by others, those who are present surrounding that person, that smoke when enter into, see, when the smoke is a minute thing, it will be easily mixed up with the air. Okay. And when the person is smoking in a closed environment, like completely closed environment, the smoke will circulate in a particular place, that environment itself. And what happens, the other persons who are present in the particular closed environment may also have to intake the smoke. When the smoke containing this nicotine and carbon monoxide is inhaled by other people, then automatically it will causes some problem to the other people also. Okay, fine. So these are the 2 things. And this N-nitrosodimethylen, it is a carcinogen. Carcinogen means causes cancer. In that way, it is responsible for causing lung cancer. So about 95% of the lung cancer patients are smokers. And out of the 10% smoke inhaled by the person who is smoking, only 1% will be finally absorbed. Remaining will be released outside. Okay, and released outside, right? Those smoke which are inhaled by other people will also have the chances of getting the lung cancer. Okay, so other things are the teeth will get stained, bad breath will come from the mouth, and this nicotine, which is acting as a stimulant, it will stimulate the central nervous system and makes the conduction of nerve impulse faster, and it causes tachycardia, which is called as the increase in the heart rate. Okay, and it also increases the secretion of emergency hormone, what we call it as adrenaline. So adrenaline will be secreted in your adrenal gland. Okay, in under only triple F condition, fight, flight, and fright, this adrenaline will be secreted. But when a person is intaking tobacco, that is nicotine will causes the secretion of adrenaline. Okay, so that is the emergency hormone which help us to make the decisions easily. Okay, so don't think like adrenaline secretion is very good, so you can't intake nicotine. Okay, yeah, nicotine chemical will also reduce the breathing rate, of course. When nicotine is slowly getting deposited in your respiratory system, it will causes difficulty in breathing. Okay. Yeah. Finally, the anti-tobacco day is 31st May. It is observed on 31st May. Okay. Fine. So shall we move on to the next addiction? Have you all copied the first 3 slides? Okay. So next one, what we are going to see is alcohol addiction. The next one is alcohol addiction. So put down the heading as alcohol addiction. Yeah, carbon monoxide, see carbon monoxide, it will be released in a very, very mild percentage. So immediately it will not causes death at all. Okay. Only carbon monoxide accumulates in your body, then it will go and bind with your hemoglobin and lead to fatal condition. This carbon monoxide which is released from the smoke, it will get dispersed in the atmosphere and it will get diluted. Okay. So this dilute amount of carbon monoxide, immediately it will not causes death. Fine. Yeah. Okay, now see, the next one is alcohol addiction. Already we have studied about this alcoholic beverages and microbes in human welfare. Okay, you know, two different types of alcohol are there. One is the fermented one, other one is the non-fermented one. Can you recall everything from your microbes lesson, right? So the fermented one are beer and wine, right? So there's fermented beverages and distilled beverages, right? So distillation, beer and wine will not undergo distillation, and so they will have low percentage of alcohol, right? And the distilled beverages like rum, whiskey, vodka, brandy, gin, etc., here the alcohol content will be 40% or more than that. Okay, so all those things you know about alcohol, how to produce alcohol, and what is the microorganism that is used for the production of alcohol, yeast, everything you know. And the alcohol which we are consuming in beverages. Okay, so the alcohol that is consumed in alcoholic beverages or in the distilled beverages. Okay, the alcohol that is consumed in the distilled beverages is said to be what alcohol? It is methanol or ethanol? Ethyl alcohol or methyl alcohol? Nobody knows the answer. Alcohol, what we are drinking is ethanol or methanol, ma? Ethanol. Okay, so it is ethanol. It is ethyl alcohol, right? Ethyl alcohol is the one what is present in the beverages which we are using for drinking purpose. Okay, it is ethyl alcohol. Methanol is poisonous. Okay, so alcohol that is consumed in distilled beverage is said to be ethyl alcohol, also called as ethanol. And now let me tell you what are the things that will happen if alcohol intake is there. Okay, so alcohol can act as an analgesic. You know what do you mean by analgesic, students? Analgesic are painkillers. Okay, if a person is an alcoholic, he will not observe the pain in the body. So you would have noticed people who are drinking alcohol, they will say like my body is paining a lot today, so today I will take alcohol so that I can sleep peacefully. So this alcohol, once when it enters into the body, it will act as a painkiller. Suppose you are taking paracetamol tablet, right? Brufen we will take. If there is severe body pain, we will take Brufen. Okay, so all these are painkillers, right? So once you take painkiller, what you will notice, wherever pain you have in your body, that pain will not be observed by you. It will not be noticed, and you will have a peaceful sleep or peaceful work you can do, right? Similarly, alcohol will also act as an analgesic, which means painkillers. Okay, also alcohol act as an anesthetic. You know anesthesia will be given before surgery and all, for losing the sensation. Okay, for losing the sensation for temporary period of time. Suppose if they are going to do any minor surgery in a particular area of your body, they will give anesthesia so that you will not feel anything in that particular area. They will cut, blood will come out, you cannot feel anything. Simply it will be like you will have a numb feel, maruthu pora feel, right? So that is called as losing the sensation, and that in that way alcohol can also act as an anesthetic. Okay, it can also act as an anesthetic, and then it also acts as a sedative. You know sedative? Sedatives means they are said to be depressants. Sedatives are depressants which induces sleep. Okay, all depressants will induces sleep. Okay, that's why after intaking alcohol, the person will sleep like anything. Okay, so all these are the characteristics of alcohol. It can act as an analgesic, it can act as an anesthetic, and it can also act as a sedative. So okay, now let's see what are the problems that we will face if we drink alcohol. So the first one, I'll go step by step. Alcohol will reduces your blood pressure. It will reduces BP. Okay, blood pressure. When blood pressure is reduced, there will be dilation in your blood vessels. Okay, dilation of blood vessels will be there. Only if your blood the blood pressure will get reduced. If the blood vessels constrict, area will reduce, then pressure will increase, and so BP will increase. So it reduces blood pressure by dilating your blood vessels. Okay, so this is the first thing. Now, the prolonged use of alcohol. If a person is continuously drinking alcohol every day and in a large amount, so this prolonged use of alcohol, you can call the person as alcoholic. Okay, so this prolonged use of alcohol, right, it will causes hypertension. See, hypertension is because of increase in BP. Okay, so see, here I have told it reduces BP. When alcohol enters into your body, it will dilate your blood vessel and it will reduces your BP. Fine. But when this alcohol intake is for a long period of time, as you are intaking alcohol continuously every day, like in a large amount, in one stage, it will causes hypertension, which is increase in BP. And you know, whenever hypertension occurs, BP increases, then it will result in heart diseases, and that we call it as coronary heart disease. Okay, the increase in BP is the first thing which is responsible for your heart problems. So this increase in BP, which we call it as hypertension, will lead to coronary heart diseases also. Okay, so you just copy this, then I will move on to the next slide. Lot of side effects are there because of drinking alcohol. You should know everything, right? See, yeah, intaking wine and beer, even alcohol intaking, if it is in a limited concentration, limited amount, it is good. Okay, because in Western countries, why they are taking alcohol in the sense because of the environmental condition prevailing there. So there the climate will be very cool. The temperature is in minus, so the body temperature will also like drop down. So to maintain the body temperature, once if you intake alcohol, your body temperature will rise. Okay, so they are taking alcohol as we are taking coffee, tea here, or we are drinking lime juice to reduce the body temperature. They are taking alcohol to increase the body temperature. Okay, so alcohol in a proper concentration, in a proper amount, if that is intaken, will be like it will not affect you in any way. But beyond the limit, beyond the like if they are taking a more amount of alcohol and the consumption is more, then it will obviously affect your body in some way. That is, it will causes you many side effects. Okay, not only side effects, it causes major effect also by affecting some important organs, right? Okay, let me continue the drawbacks of having alcohol. It also, alcohol stimulates the acid secretion. You know what acid is secreted in our stomach? HCl. Okay, so the hydrochloric acid which is secreted in our stomach, right, that will be stimulated because of intaking alcohol. So that's why if a person is continuously consuming alcohol, you can see they will be easily having gastritis, ulcer, peptic ulcer. Okay, so it stimulates acid secretion in stomach, and thereby if the acid secretion increases in your stomach, finally it will result in gastritis, that is gastric problem first, which will later result in peptic ulcer. Okay, so after drinking alcohol, they should take enough food. Some person after drinking alcohol, they will not eat. So what happens? The alcohol will be there in your stomach and it will get absorbed in your stomach itself. Okay, so it will start stimulating the hydrochloric acid, and this hydrochloric acid, if there is no food in your stomach, the hydrochloric acid will start directly reacting on the epithelial cells of your stomach. Even mucus is there. Mucus, how much mucus will control the this acidic problem, acidic thing of your stomach. So in one stage, your mucus cannot control, right? So there the hydrochloric acid will start reacting vigorously on the epithelial cells of your stomach present in the alimentary canal, and it will start rupturing your cells and causes peptic ulcer and gastritis. Okay, but then it alcohol intaking. See, after drinking alcohol, they will not have proper vision, right? Have you seen people like they will tell like everything will look blood for them? Okay, so it will causes blood division. That's why after drinking alcohol, the people are not supposed to drive, because driving they will not have proper vision after drinking alcohol. Okay, it causes blood division, and also it reduces the visual field. Visual field means they will not have the proper visual field. That is, it will be called as tunnel vision. Tunnel vision means everything looks like double or triple for them. Okay, right. So it reduces the visual field, and also it increases the reaction time, and the coordination between the organs will be reduced. Okay, it increases reaction time. That means they will react very slowly. Okay, whatever thing they will see, if you ask any question to the alcoholic person, immediately they cannot answer, they cannot recall everything. Okay, and this reaction time will increase. At the same time, the coordination between the organs will be reduced. The coordination between the organs will also get reduced. Coordination between the organs means the organs will not function, because organ to organ there will be some sort of signaling passed. Okay, so this communication between the organs will also get reduced, and your organs, internal organs, will start functioning slowly. So these two are the reasons. It causes blood division, it reduces visual field. At the same time, they cannot take immediate decision. Okay, if a person is driving after drinking alcohol, suppose any vehicle, like he is going to face any accident case like that, immediately he cannot take decision. So that is why these two are the reasons why drinking and driving should not go together. Okay, this is the reason why drinking alcohol and driving vehicles should not go together. Drunken drive is highly punishable offense. Okay, so it should not go together. So why they are telling in the sense, after drinking alcohol you should not drive? The main reason is the about two: vision will be proper, increases the reaction time, and so coordination between the organs is reduced. If so, like when you are driving, you have to be very, very cautious. Okay, so if any vehicle comes into your way, you should be alert and aware of that, and you should immediately, your adrenaline should be active to take immediate decision and protect you from accident. Okay, after drinking alcohol, all these things will get reduced, and easily they can be supposed to accidents and all. Right now, other than this, you can see alcoholic person, they will urinate frequently. Okay, so why they will urinate frequently? Because alcohol will decreases in excretion chapter in human physiology. You would have studied about a hormone called as ADH, antidiuretic hormone, right? So this antidiuretic hormone is responsible for reabsorption of your water in your distal convoluted tubule and in your like collecting tubules. Okay, so this ADH secretion will get reduced. Once ADH secretion is reduced, automatically reabsorption of water will get reduced. Reabsorption of water is not there, then there will be more amount, volume of urine output will be there. It increases the urine output. That is the reason why alcoholic persons urinate frequently. Okay, so the urine, it increases the urine output. How it will increases the urine output? By decreasing the secretion of ADH, which is responsible for the reabsorption of water in your renal tubular part. Okay, right. Now, still some more thing. The main thing is there. The main organ that is affected by alcohol is, you know very well, the main target organ of alcohol. Which is the main target organ of alcohol? Can you tell me? In like in smoking, the main target organ is lungs. Okay, similarly, the main target organ of alcohol is which organ? Liver. Very good. Okay, so the main target organ of alcohol is going to be liver. So liver is a very, very important organ that is majorly affected by this alcohol. Now I will tell you how this liver is getting affected. Okay, fine. So once when you are drinking alcohol, okay, fine, it will reaches your stomach, and you know alcohol will get absorbed in your stomach itself. So in stomach itself, the absorption of alcohol will get over. Absorption in the sense, you know, absorption is the one which takes place from your alimentary canal to your blood vessels. That is, the alcohol will get absorbed into your bloodstream. It will get absorbed to the bloodstream. Okay, so bloodstream in the sense, alcohol will get mixed up with your blood. Fine, it will get absorbed to your bloodstream, and now your alcohol will be present in your blood. Now you know one thing, in your digestive system alone, that is, the deoxygenated blood will not be directly taken to your heart. Before going to heart, you'd have studied hepatic portal system, right? So from your stomach, intestine part and all, the deoxygenated blood, it will go to your liver. There it will undergo purification process, and like after converting ammonia to urea, and if alcohol or any other drugs are present, they all will be eliminated in your liver. So after absorbing to the bloodstream by means of this hepatic portal system, by means of hepatic portal system, the blood will reaches your liver. For why it will go to liver? For detoxification process. Whatever the toxic products present in your blood will be removed in your liver, and from your liver, then the blood will go to your heart. Okay, so this is the thing that will happen. So this hepatic portal system, it will take all your blood to the liver. So there in your liver, what will happen? The alcohol will be separated, your blood will be purified. Okay, so during this purification of blood, the alcohol, which is toxic substance present in your blood, it will get separated. Alcohol will be separated in your blood, and the purified blood will be allowed to send to the heart. Okay, so this alcohol which is separated, right? So this alcohol will start accumulating because again with your blood, when it is going to heart, the alcohol now it has been separated, right? Filtered. So this alcohol will start accumulating the cells of your liver. Fine. So what happens? The alcohol, after getting accumulated, now the alcohol will slowly, it will changes into aldehyde, that is acetaldehyde. Okay, it will changes into acetaldehyde. You know what alcohol it is? Ethanol. The ethanol will slowly changes into acetaldehyde. Which, why it will be changes into acetaldehyde? Because your hepatic cells, the hepatic cells will use alcohol for energy, okay, for combustion process, for the cellular respiration process. They will start using this alcohol as a source. Okay, and this hepatic cells, when you start using alcohol for energy production, the alcohol will be slowly converted into acetaldehyde. Okay, and later this acetaldehyde, now it will get converted into fatty acids. Okay, and this fatty acids will start accumulating. Fatty acids will start accumulating. Okay, as a result of breakdown of this alcohol to acetaldehyde, fatty acids will form. These fatty acids will accumulate and it will result in a fatty liver. Okay, that will result in fatty liver syndrome. So this is the first like initial thing that will happen in your liver. Okay, so this fatty liver syndrome, right, this is an indication that your liver is going to completely spoil or completely destroy. Okay, so this fatty liver syndrome, in this case your liver, you see, if you take your liver, okay, so your liver will be like this, right? So you will have a ligament, falciform ligament, that will be dividing the liver into two lobes, right and left. So over your liver, you can see like this fatty globules. All these are fatty acids. Okay, so this fatty acids, when they start accumulating in your liver, it will causes this fatty liver syndrome. Fat molecules will get accumulate, fatty acids will start accumulating all over your liver, and this fatty liver syndrome will develop. So the fibrous tissue, this fatty liver syndrome, because of accumulation of this fatty acids, the fibrous tissue, right, it makes the liver, the fibrous tissue makes the liver inactive. After this fatty liver syndrome, the fibrous tissue which are present, they makes the liver inactive, and slowly cracks develop in your liver. Some cracks will develop, as you can see cracks on the walls. Okay, in your liver, cracks will start developing, and this is the condition, what we call it as, that is the condition of your liver is getting slowly damaged. Okay, the condition of liver damage, complete liver damage, is called by the medical term cirrhosis of liver, which we call it as cirrhosis of liver. Okay, so this cirrhosis of liver is the ultimate stage where the liver will get completely destroyed by the alcohol. Okay, so once the cirrhosis of liver occurs, depends on the age, gender, the person may be either given treatment and can be cured, or sometimes if the cirrhosis of liver is 100%, they will either go for liver transplantation process. Suppose if the age is very less, like below for 30, 35, 40, in this age, if they are getting cirrhosis of liver, the liver can be again regenerated by completely stopping the alcohol, and medicines can be given because your liver is having the regenerating power. But once if they have crossed the age of 50, 55, liver cannot regenerate because age will not suppose like it will not support the regeneration of liver. In that case, they can live only for a short period of time, or else they have to undergo liver transplantation process. Okay, right? So these are the things which will be happening because of intaking this alcohol. Got it, students? Yeah, it will happen for all alcoholic. What is that? So person to person, the mechanism will vary. Whoever drinks alcohol in the sense, that is what I told you. If they are taking alcohol in a limited range, it will not happen. Okay. But they are taking beyond the limit. For everyone who is taking this, sure, it will affect all these things. It is not only for a particular person. All of us have a similar metabolism. Okay, for some person, if the liver is not getting affected, in the sense for them the liver will be made of iron or some metal. All of us, all body are made up of cells only. Okay, so the whatever I told, it is common for everyone, male, female, age, whatever it is, whatever criteria you take, it is common for everyone. So I will show you all the alcohol slides, ma. This is the fourth one. It is not possible to complete. We didn't start this part. Only 15 more minutes. This is the fifth one. This is the sixth one. Yeah, drinking alcohol. Yes, if a person is alcoholic, he will get aging process very early. Aging process will occur very early. Okay. See, whenever your internal metabolism changes, in your skin, in your hair, everywhere. Okay, early graying will occur, early aging will occur, wrinkle option will get, that will puffing up to your eyelids, eyes. Okay, all these things will happen, which will make you to look age people. Okay, sixth slide and seventh slide. Okay, fine. Shall we start the next one? Drugs. Fifth one. I want to show you fifth one. Yes. So this is fifth one. This is sixth one. And this is seventh one. Okay. Fine. So next we can start the third part of your addiction, that is drugs addiction. Okay. Yeah. Generally, if you say drugs, it represents medicines also. Okay. Don't think like drugs are the one which are said to be only this morphine, heroin, or like that. So medically, like pharmaceutical, drugs, medicines, they are all similar terms. Okay. Generally, drug means you can say it is a medicine. Medicine, simply you can say it is chemical compounds. Okay. Here, drugs in the sense, under drugs, we are not going to see the medicinal compounds. We are going to see the drugs which are taken, the chemical compounds which are taken by people for their pleasure, for fun, or for any other like to come out of depression. Okay, or just like a hobby. So these drugs are going to be psychotropic drugs. Okay, so I will tell you generally what is drugs. Okay, so drugs, generally, if you want to define drugs, drugs are all chemicals. They are all chemical compounds, whether it is medicinal drug or the psychotropic drug, whatever it is, drugs are all chemicals that alter the functioning of the body. Whatever, even if you are taking a paracetamol, that is also a drug. When you take paracetamol, automatically some body is right. So the one which changes the functioning of the body, that may be anything. It may be a painkiller, or it may be an antibiotic, or it may be a anesthetic. or it may be some cough syrup, whatever it is called as drug, because it is going to cause some changes in the functioning of your metabolism in your body. The chemicals that alter the function of the body is generally called as drugs. And the drugs, now what we are going to see is the drugs in this, we are going to see some drugs which is going to affect your central nervous system. The drugs which affects your CNS, central nervous system, means your mainly activity of your brain and nerves. Okay, yeah. So the drugs which affects the central nervous system, those drugs in particularly, they are called as psychotropic drugs. Okay, the drugs which affects your central nervous system. Even now you don't think like only the morphine, heroin will affect your psychotropic central nervous system. The sleeping pills which which the old age people are taking, right? So you can see like for the heart problem, those people who are having heart problem, and those who are having blood pressure, and those who are having some psychic problems, the doctors will prescribe some sleeping pills, sedatives for them, right? And those also comes under their psychotropic drugs. Even the cough syrup comes under psychotropic. You would have noticed like when you take cough syrup, you drink just one bottle of cough syrup, you will sleep like anything. Okay, as the person who drank alcohol sleep like they'll have a very good sleep, right? Similarly, cough syrup will also induce a sleep because it is also affecting our central nervous system. So whichever drugs we intake affects your central nervous system, then those drugs are called as psychotropic drugs. Okay, and in this chapter, in this concept, we are going to discuss about the psychotropic drugs and not generally about all medicines or drugs. Okay, so these psychotropic drugs are of two types. Okay, so what are the two different types of psychotropic drugs that affects your central nervous system? The one which will stimulate your central nervous system and the one which will suppress your central nervous system. So one is called as the narcotics and other one is called as the stimulant. Okay, so two different types of psychotropic drugs. Generally, psychotropic drugs will affect your CNS, and the narcotics are the one which decreases the activity of CNS, which decreases the activity of nervous system, not only central nervous system, your peripheral nervous system also. Okay, so you can say nervous system decreases the activity of central nervous system, and these narcotics are commonly called as depressants. They can also be called as depressants because it is depressing the activity of central nervous system, right? So it is called as depressant. And stimulant are the one just the opposite of narcotic. It increases the activity of nervous system. It increases the activity of nervous system. That's why they are called as stimulants. The opposite for depressant is one, stimulant is one which will provoke. Okay, yeah. So wait, we are going to see hallucinogenic drug everything. Please wait, okay, till the topic comes. So these are the two different types of psychotropic drugs, and now we are going to see four different categories of psychotropic drugs. So I am going to categorize the psychotropic drugs under four groups. Under what basis? On the basis of their action. Action in the sense what they are going to do. Okay, so on the basis of their action, after intaking that particular psychotropic drug, what type of action it is going to do in your body, based on that we are going to see four groups of psychotropic drugs. So let me tell you what are the four groups and then I will explain one by one. Okay, so the first one what we are going to see is sedatives and tranquilizers. Sedatives and tranquilizers are the first group we are going to see. The second group are the opiate narcotics. The third one are the stimulants. And fourth one are the hallucinogens. See, previously what I categorized into narcotic and stimulant are the two types of psychotropic drugs. The entire psychotropic drugs can be categorized into either narcotic or stimulant, whether it is increasing the activity or decreasing the activity. Now, I am going to categorize them under four groups based on their action. Okay, So the first one is sedative and tranquilizer. The second one is opiate narcotic. The third one is stimulant. And the fourth one is hallucinogen. So these are the 4 groups of psychotropic drugs we are going to discuss under this drug addiction concept. So let us see one by one. Okay. So first, let me tell you, okay, I will start in a new slide as I'm not having enough space to write about those things. Let me take a new slide. You just copy these 4 groups. I'll open a new slide and I will start explaining one by one. Okay, so first under this, the first group what we are going to see is sedatives and tranquilizers. Tranquilizers. You can use S or you can use Z for in this place. Okay, no problem. So sedatives and tranquilizers, you know sedative. Okay, now tell me, sedatives are all narcotics or stimulants? Just now I told you sedative means it is going to induce sleep. It is a depressant. Okay, depressant, then it is in the sense. So all the sedatives and tranquilizers are completely depressants. You please write in the bracket, they are depressants which are going to decrease the activity of central nervous system. So the first one, let me give you some examples, then I will tell you the characteristics of these. The examples for sedatives and tranquilizers, the first group are barbiturates. These barbiturates are widely used in sleeping pills. Okay, barbiturates comes under this category or group. Then you have Valium. This is one chemical compound. Then diazepam. Diazepam, you would have noticed this is also a sleeping pill only. Okay. So all these are examples for sedatives and tranquilizers. And now I will tell you what are the activities of the sedatives and tranquilizers based on their action. As it is present, it will depress nervous activity. Okay. It will depress or suppress the nervous activity. And it will produce some calmness in your body. Calmness means it will help you to calm down. If you are in tension, it will help you to calm down. And then it will also causes relaxation, body relaxation. Okay. So when your central nervous system is not highly active, automatically your body will be relaxed. So it will produce relaxation and calmness. And these drugs, sedatives and tranquilizers, they are called as anti-anxiety drugs because it is going to reduce the anxiety. So they are called as anti-anxiety drugs. Okay. And this sedatives, in particular, I will tell you what is sedatives and what is tranquilizer. Sedatives are the one which will causes drowsiness. If a person is taking a sedative, okay, it will causes drowsiness and it will induce a sleep. And it will induce a sleep. And when coming to tranquilizers, tranquilizer is a depressant, but it will not induce a sleep. You please keep it in your mind. Tranquilizers are mood elevators. Okay. Mood elevator. Elevator means they will provoke the mood. Okay. And reduces the tension. If a person is in a high tension, it will reduce the tension and it will changes the mood. Okay. But tranquilizers do not induce sleep. You please note down, tranquilizers do not induces sleep. Only sedative will induce sleep. Okay. But both are depressant. Depressant means they are going to reduce the activity of central nervous system. That is common character for both. But sedative alone will cause a sleep. Tranquilizers do not induce sleep. Rather, it will reduce the tension, produce calmness, and it is a mood elevator. So these are the characteristics of your sedatives and tranquilizers, and these are some examples for this sedatives and tranquilizer. Okay. You please copy this. We have 5 more minutes. We will complete this opiate narcotics also. Have you finished? Fine. Now the second one, what I told you is opiate narcotics. By the name itself, it has been given narcotics. So obviously, these opiate narcotics can also be called as opioids. You can call them as opioid derivatives. Okay. And narcotics, these are also again depressants. Okay. They are also depressants. Fine. And now I will tell you some examples. Then I will explain the activity of these the opiate narcotics. The first one is opium. Opium is an example. Then morphine. Then heroin, pethidine, etc. Like you have so many derivatives in this: opium, morphine, heroin, pethidine, etc. And these are also depressants, already I told you, and they are said to be derivatives of opium. All other compounds are derivatives of opium. Opium is the main compound. Okay, the derivatives of opium are morphine, heroin, pethidine, etc. And this opium, how it is obtained? It is obtained from a plant. It is obtained from a plant that is called as poppy plant, and in this poppy plant mainly it is obtained from the pods. Okay, so pods means like you will study in genetics, pod color, pod shape and all. Okay, so pod means the one, see, if you open beans and all, if you open this beans, okay, on either sides you will have like this compartment, and inside this compartment you will have the seed attached, right? And this compartment is called as pod. So this, from the pods of the poppy plant, there is a plant called as poppy plant, and from the pods of poppy plant, this poppy plant biological name is a very, very important neat question. It is called as Papaver somniferum. Papaver somniferum is the biological name of this poppy plant. From this poppy plant, this opium is taken. And from the opium, these other compounds are derived. Morphine, heroin, pethidine, all these compounds are derived. So all these are derivatives of opium, which is, this opium is obtained directly from the pods of the poppy plant called as Papaver somniferum. Okay. So actually the receptors for these so receptors means where do they go and function in your body. So all these receptors for the drugs are present in two important places in our body. The receptors are one present in our gut, that is in our alimentary canal, and also in our central nervous system. So once when the drugs are intaken, these drugs will go and bind with the receptors present in the gut and in your central nervous system, and they will start functioning. How they will take all these drugs? Either they will take by injection, okay, or they will take by snorting. Snorting means they will like rub this in their hands and they will start taking the smell. So if you just Google snorting, you can see the images. They will rub it in the hands and they will just inhale the smell, and that will go inside your body and it will start reacting the function. Okay, so injection or snorting, they can be taken. These drugs can be taken through injection or through snorting. Okay, so I have to continue, Ma. You have some more information in this opiate narcotics, but last one more minute, I will show you all the slides. Monday we shall continue with this. Okay, in another 10 or 15 minutes we can complete this chapter. After completing this, I will start the topic Monday. Next unit, what I am going to start is ecology. That is the 5th unit. Okay. So 5th unit, already 2 chapters has been deleted from the 5th unit. So you have only 2 more chapters to discuss in that unit. So first, let me complete the 2 chapters, and after completing all the portion, we can see the remaining 2 topics has been deleted from the 5th unit. Okay. So I'm going to start organism and population chapter in your 5th unit, ecology. Okay, got it. So I will show you all the slides. You just take a fast pick or notes. First one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one. Students, and one more information. Hereafter, every day you will be given homework in Learnity portal. Okay, so you have to open the Learnity portal, and in for all subjects, maths, physics, chemistry, biology, some questions will be given, and you have to take those questions and you have to write it in your notebook. Okay, to show or you write. After writing the answers, you can take a pic and you can post there itself. We can, like, we will download and we will visualize the homework. Okay, we will check every day. We will check those who are not posting your homework, and we will take the list of those names and we'll call your parents, talk to them, complain about that you are not doing the homework. So it is not only because of that, you have to make the practice of how to answer the questions. Okay, the homework, both subjective and objective questions will be there. Some objective questions, MCQs will also be there, and subjective questions will also be there. It is for like making you to practice for your board exams and also for your NEET and JEE exams. Okay, so please do attend that. Take your regular session. It will not take hardly more than 10 minutes for each subject. Very simple, maximum 5 to 10 questions will be there. So please do that homework and submit in the portal. Okay, got it? Seventh one. So this is seventh one. Eighth one. Ninth one. 10th one. And the last one, 11th one. Okay, students, all the best. Do well in your Sunday NEET exam. Tomorrow you have full day. Like use your time properly. Prepare for the exam. All the best. Do well. Okay. Thank you so much. See you all Monday. Thank you.